Good morning, afternoon or evening, and for those of you that speak Portuguese or Spanish, bom dia or buenos dias, although if you're in Brazil you'd say bom dia, but that's up to you. Right, this is a game that's quite interesting. It's a little while ago that I played this one now, but I found it was a really important kind of learning curve. So there are a number of lessons coming up. It's quite a long game, but I'm going to condense it down by going a bit more quickly through certain things. So it was a game of me playing the Athenians. Here I am in the blue against, what was his name? Tho, or Toe, I don't know how you pronounce that. But he was playing as the Romans, I believe. Let me just check. Absolutely, he was playing as Romans. So it started out as you'd expect. I'm just going to up the speed to double to begin with. He decided he was going to... Oops. There you go, finally we can move. Sorry about that. The sound wasn't fully maximised. But he started producing women, got some... chopping down some trees, collecting his berry bushes, fairly standard opening, and I did, I think, much for muchness. If we have a look, I noticed there were camels, so I'll probably be, well, not probably, I will be pretty, well, look at those, I'll be pretty cavalry heavy for this, because look at all that hunting that can go on, just immediately within my base. So it's the Red Sea map, so you can see, as it's one of the larger ones, there is a crossing point here and a crossing point here, but there's nowhere else in between, so there are only two real choke points, and they become really critical later on, you'll sort of notice. But as we went on, so we're now 2 minutes in. I was on 22, he's on 25, but I've got actually only 3 cavalry at this stage, so not as many as I would have expected, but another one's on his way, and I'm basically just producing cavalry just as quickly as possible, chopping down some trees. Haven't yet gone for the axe upgrade, but literally just doing that now, because the cavalry cost loads of food but not so much wood, so you get a little surplus of wood which allows you to attract more wood. So at the 3-minute mark we're roughly level. It's 200 capacity game, and we're both we've both got houses to allow us to have 30. If we look now, I'm on 5 cavalry and still hunting away, and he's kind of expanding out a little bit. But if we just find out how many horses he has, it's 5 as well. So very, very similar. And he's straight onto farms very quickly. I haven't done that yet because I've got now 11 cavalry all hunting, so there's no need for farms at this early stage. So in terms of what happens, well, it's pretty much standard development. His batch is set to 5, mine is usually set to 2, so it is indeed set to 2. You can see them, look at that, they're like swarms of ants. There's now 15 cavalry, which the idea that I like to do with this is that you get all of your cavalry together and they are basically set up to hunt, and you just get as many as you can. So now we're looking at 19 cavalry. And once you've kind of hunted everything there is around you and you're feeling fairly solid, in fact it may even be higher than 19. No, it is 19. Once all there, then you can start just do a raid on the base, because it's really, really difficult to defend against an absolute mass of cavalry with infantry, because if the person doesn't have a lot of cavalry, you can just split them into 2 groups, come either side, and then as the infantry run to one side, all of the women get attacked by the other side. There's a lot of options going on here, but as you can see there's a little bit of an expanse, but my infrastructure is not great. I've got women here that have long since ceased to be picking berries, and now they get down here because I can put a dock which allows me to get some fishing boats. I believe there's a few there are some fish in there, so it gives a chance to put some fish. Do I actually make a fishing boat? I'm not sure. And the barracks also is always a good idea to put this right on the edge of where your your territory is, because it actually gives you quite a lot of extra territory. However, I went into town phase just as that happened, kind of negating the extra territory. It may still bulge just a little bit if we have a look. but it doesn't, so I'm still well within myself. So at the 8-minute mark, I'm on 51, he's on 66, so Tho is pulling ahead here, but that's mostly because if we look again at the cavalry, he has now got significantly more cavalry. He's got 13, but I'm on something like double that, so as they cost double the amount of wood, food, you'd expect that. Interestingly, he's going for towers. This is quite a good idea as well to get upgrade, to be able to zoom through the phases relatively quickly, because while you're on the first phase you make these towers, all you need to do is upgrade those and you get your 4 buildings very quickly to go through. But you can see now, so he's on 73, I'm only on 59, so if he were to attack now, there's every chance that he'd be able to take me out, so I'm only just starting to get into a reasonable position. So I've not got the buildings to do the upgrade. In fact, I thought that was him attacking, but it's not. It's my people that have just gone a little bit further away to kill these camels, to continue hunting. So I've now, it's got kind of 2 groups of cavalry. I've got these 12 up here, and these 3, 5 or so, that are hunting in the south, and that means that theoretically there's the opportunity for a pincer movement. But if we look at what I actually know about the map at this stage, I don't actually know where the crossing points are. So actually I know about this one, but that's really it. I've sent my cavalry around and they've investigated. You can see a load of stuff up here, so I know that there's a few bits and that they can run around, but I don't know where red is, and at the moment I'm just like ploughing on, trying to increase, catching up in in numbers, capacity. Only 5 behind. I've got 23 cavalry. He's exchanging food for a number of other things, so realising that he's not in a great position. Let's have a look at how balanced his economy is. Yeah, he's totally over the top. He's got lots of food, but he's not got people getting the rest of the materials that are required. And if we look at my economy, how was that handling? I badly needed to get some wood. Got plenty of people going for wood now, and metal as well, but the stone is going well. So at this point I'm just trying to build up my economy as solidly as possible. So I'm now on 27 horses, and you can see I'm collecting them all together. That's for an attack. They're no longer hunting. So it's a case of how long will that be, and my fishing boat is just pulling in food as well. If you ever get this and it's uncontested, it's brilliant, because it's a really, really easy way to pick up a lot of food very quickly. Look at the speed with which he's getting it, and each time it's 40 food. Okay, so now my horses go south. I believe that's at this stage that's just to hunt, but no. So I've gone south here with the idea of just checking out where he is, and to try and find out a bit more about the other side of the map. So at this point I don't know. I can see the ground open up, but I'm just absolutely unaware as to where he is. I've just seen a red horseman, and very quickly dispatched, because 23 against 1 is pretty easy. Or is it 23? I don't know actually. Yeah, 26 against 1. And now I come in on the side and see his horses, but I should be able to take those out actually. There's not that many of them. And if we look, I see that he's got a lot more horses coming in. And they come charging in. They're not range units. They just all those ones went. So he's got range units, but he's also got these knights with lances. But you can see what a massacre this is. So I started with 26. I've still got 17, but I've taken loads of his horses out. And that raid is satisfactory for me at that stage. I'm just going to go back and get these guys, ready. And that's about the time that I would normally make a raid. I mean, ideally you would make your raid within sort of 10 minutes is better, but I was a bit slow in this one, but certainly around this time I was making raids around 14-15 minute mark, and that can be too late because you've basically given the other player an opportunity to get, pretty high up in development. So now I'm trying to get myself to the city phase. Oh no, I've done that already. So I built this Iberian embassy, and the reason for that is they've got slingers, but they've also got these heavy cavalry with swords, and those are really helpful if you're trying to defend yourself against rams, because it's one of the things that the Romans have which can cause all manner of problems. All it takes is a couple of rams to get into your base, and you've only got range units and you just cannot stop them. So that's very important that you keep those things contained if you can. So now I'm building my first temple. So it's now 20 minutes in nearly, and the first temple is going to be put together, and that's because that's where the heroes come from for the Athenians, and they are those similar. The heroes are those, sorry, not heroes, champions. So those Lancer knights that you just saw with what's the other player using. So they just come in with a charge, but once they've charged, they then take 3.5 seconds to make another attack. So if you don't get them first thing, then you've got 3.5 seconds while people are attacking you with your knights there. So what you can do is combine them with a hero. I forget his name. I think he might come from the fortress, so I'll just, when this is done, I will remember. Is it Hannibal Barker? No, it's Mahabal. And what he does is give, as you can see, I'm making him now, or trying to make him now, 30% attack from melee cavalry. So you imagine those melee cavalry there, already super strong, with him an extra 30% charging in, they can basically take people out almost immediately. You have a range of people behind them, archers and so on. That initial charge comes in, takes most of their health, and then you just find that immediately after, the range cavalry can just absolutely obliterate what's left of their thing before anyone's really known what happened. So I'm just trying to drink coffee at the same time as this. So if we look now at what's going on his side of the map, you can see he's suddenly got a phenomenal number of whatever they're called, cavalry. 47 of them now, and they're using a dock as a drop point, which is pretty smart work. He's on 166, I'm on 143, so he's 20 population ahead, even though I had that really successful raid. And what he's also doing is, the longer the distance that your traders travel, the more they get back. So we see this guy, he's getting 26 metal. Imagine there's 10 of those, 26 wood, 26 metal. So if we see what he was doing, he was looking for mostly metal, wood and stone. But he's in a pretty strong state at this point. And getting the loom, which I think allows, what does the loom do? It's either extra health, in fact I think it is extra health for your things. You actually can find out here. Here's the loom. 50% health for female citizens. Well worth it if you've got them and they're unprotected, and just gives them a little bit longer to get to safety. So one of the things that I like to do now is like this. If you've got women and they're chopping trees, and men, in fact it's always useful, have somewhere that they can run to get away if an attack comes and you're not expecting it. So if you put a house next to your drop site, particularly earlier on in the game, it gives you extra speed because you're not running your women off somewhere else to build a house and then bringing them back to chop trees. You're just doing it next door to where they are, so it's slightly quicker. But also, it means that if you're under attack, you've got somewhere to go pretty quickly. So they just run into the house. The men can get into the barracks or the tower, and in doing so, the enemy attackers are, can be fought off pretty easily. Certainly early on before you get siege weapons or anything, and it just makes you that little bit safer. So you can see he's mounting for an attack now. He's got there's 59 horses there. There's another 2 here, but equally, I'm also looking at that. So I've got 10 of these super strong cavalry, 24. 10 of the super strong Lancer cavalry. Then you've got 24 of the horse archers or horse javeliniers, whatever they are, and this hero who's going to make them super strong. So this is an important part of the game, so I will just slow this down quickly. You'll see this is an aborted attack. It goes pretty badly, and they run straight back. So not the greatest piece of play there. I realised I think I want a few more cavalry, so in fact that was exactly the reason why these 4 cavalry spawned sooner than I expected, so I thought, well, why not attack with those extra 4 as well. Having said that, all of his defences, or his defensive troops, 62 horses, are all way out of his base, so he's bringing them all. I'm not sure quite why he's doing that. I think he's just trying to avoid detections. If we look for him, I think he's still exploring the map a little bit. So he is trying to avoid detection and bring those troops back. But if we look at the point that he's doing that, in a twist of fate, I've sent 14 cavalry round the south side to go and attack him. He's now noticed. And so this should be no contest whatsoever. He's just going to massacre my troops. But on the other hand, he's got no one in his base, and my main force can just come here and start absolutely running havoc. So if you look at his troops, he's at 200 capacity. Let's see how quickly that drops. Right, he's down to 186. It's just 170. We're absolutely destroying all of his workers, and now having to run around, get some more. We've got no defence whatsoever. We've just killed like 40 odd troops. He's bringing all of his troops back, but they're all just horse archers. So another 10 are gone. Those are archers, or whatever. You see, if we just pull this down a bit more slowly and zoom in, you see my troops here. They just keep making these charges, and just watch as they charge. You just a guy just did it here, so people just falling like you wouldn't believe. But I mean, so he's trying to defend himself, but he's down at 106. He's lost 80 troops. Now he's lost 85. And I back off at this stage thinking, well, that's a pretty successful little go. He's lost 80, but he's brought some on. Then unfortunately my hero gets drawn back in by mistake, didn't realise he was left out, and so he's just going to die, which is sad for him. I think he takes at least 1 or 2 down. Hopefully he does. No, he doesn't, and he just dies utterly needlessly. So having seen that happen and realised, well, I've taken a hell of a lot of troops now. Obviously I don't know how many exactly from my point of view. It doesn't tell me, but I mean, I'm still on 167, he's on 118. I just think I need more of those melee infantry. So fine, it's just going to be a case of building as many of these as I can. So that's the plan, just build as many temples to get as many of these. Winter's already got a lot of people in it, but you'll see I'm just putting 4. It takes a minute and a half to get 4, but these now got 4 of these things. They're all building these melee infantry. Realised as well I might want some stone in the future, so like that. But what I'm short of is actually food at this stage, which isn't great. But you can see, if I go back just to very fast, I'm getting extra armour as well from the armoury for all my troops, so I want them to be better protected. I've also got 4 elephants now, because having seen his base, in fact if we look at it from what I can see of it, saw there were towers protecting the the town centre, so the plan now is get myself up to maximum capacity, which I virtually am, and then get the elephants in to destroy these towers and destroy the town centre. And that is the plan. If we look at it from his point of view, he's already back up to 162. But how many of those are actually... He's only got, if we look now, 31 horses. He had double that previously, and he had a lot of infantry. The infantry's all gone as well. So he's building extra barracks, with presumably to get that. If I have a look at this, I don't know if he even has any. He's now built a, what do you call it? What's he actually? He's getting a hero cavalry swordsman, and he's built, and getting some rams, but he's built a fortress, which is important. But if we have a look, I don't believe he has a, I can't. Oh no, he's got an armory here, so he has upgraded. Here come my troops again to try and get into. I've done it as quickly as I could with these extra troops. So if we look at it from his point of view again, these, there's 17 of them. They've already lost God knows how many. So I'm trying at this point just to stay away. Slow it down because it's quite an important thing. But the aim is just to stay away from the towers while still taking out these troops and doing a pretty decent job of that. Basically, here come the elephants now. And so I've absolutely destroyed his horses, and now it's just a case of taking out the supporting cast. So if we look, he's down to 145, I'm at 188, and the elephants are just coming in to knock down the towers. This one's already nearly gone. Okay, so that's one tower down, and now the elephants are coming to take the town centre. And this, well, now he's got a couple of rams as well, which I've noticed, so they're going to try and sneak around the back, and yeah, my horses aren't going to allow that to happen. So the 4 elephants that we have come in here, they're not in great shape, but the town centre goes, and with that should be the game. So and then it's just, okay, I just get my cavalry, just come in, again you see those charges, they just completely, each charge just destroys the rams. So that's one ram down, that's another ram down. They did take a horseman or something, horseman or 2. But at this point, yeah, this is my first real mistake. So I've got these elephants still. They don't go after the fortress. Whether I didn't notice it or not, I'm not sure. But if we look from his point of view, he's only currently, he's got 117. He can't build anything, and he has this one ram. So I have to, at this point, finish him off. But if we look, I don't actually know if a town centre, he needs to actually get some, he can't actually build a town centre, he gets some more stone. So he's in all manner of problems. I'm, on 156, so, oh, he sent some horses over, which I didn't realise, and they all died. So that was relatively painless, but he's in all manner of problems at this point. So it's really just a case of pushing through and getting myself into a position that can take him down. Now, one of the things that happened at this point, again, very short of food, so that's down to not having sufficient farms. I've only got 8 farms, and I think they may not, yeah, they're not actually all at full capacity. If you see, this one only has 4 people working on it. Maybe they are at full capacity actually. Okay, I take that back. They are pretty much at full capacity. But if I'd had closer to, say, 12 farms, then that certainly would have put me in a much better position to get going. So, what do you call it? To launch an immediate attack. The other thing that I've realised is that all the time that fight was going on, you'll have noticed possibly that he was spawning new troops. So he had his barracks all queued up, like with loads and loads of additional men. And I you know, I just basically went in there with my army, didn't have this queue of additional men, and had I had some barracks, just, you know, pull in some horse archers, they may have been able to support, and we could have got the elephants a little bit further. So we're basically just piecing together another attack. So here comes another couple of elephants, sorry. Just going to speed up while I build up my army, but again you can see we're just going for phenomenal numbers of these cavalry. It's, you know, I need that hero again. No, I've got him. So I respawned the hero, so that's fine. But this is an important thing to see. Very shortly, you'll have noticed he's got one ram down here, and this, I have to say, from him is such a smart move. He builds up rams, and you'll see how cleverly he plays very in a short period of time. So I built another town centre up here to try and allow us to collect, I think it's metal that's behind here, so that's all good. You know, I've got a really strong army, 37 of these super horsemen, and if we go back to normal speed, you will, like, we got into a little kerfuffle, but he realised he didn't have a chance. I have a phenomenal number of these cavalry, and they're just going, like, why he keeps running back and back, and he won't just stay here. Drives me insane. So he doesn't. I've got some of them are on aggressive attack, which they shouldn't be. I want them on defensive at this point because I don't want them to do anything. But again, I've got my elephants at the top. If we look at food, I've got plenty. I'm at 200 though, so I can't spawn any other elephants. Looking at the amount of resources that I had, it might not have been a terrible idea to actually build a wonder just to give me an extra population boost. So I think if we have a look, just pick a person who's not doing anything. If this guy were to start a wonder, it only costs 1,000 of each. It would give us an extra 10, I think. But anyway, the battle now commences. My guy's come in and he's got a load of troops, but what he does, which is absolute genius, is the battle's commenced and he's now got a handful of rams, starts those guys moving towards the back of my base. So what happened here is you're in here and it keeps saying you've been attacked, but you think it's just you've been attacked here, which you know. What you don't think is happening is that he's actually got a load of rams in your rear. So at this point we're still very, very massacring yet again. All of his troops are there. I mean, one thing I've learned, the balance that I've got isn't particularly good. He's now got, you know, cavalry that is like proper hardcore, what do you call it, cavalry, champion cavalry. I'm at the point here trying to take over this barracks. I'm not doing a particularly good job of it, but managed to actually destroy it, which is even better. And do I get the ram? No, the ram. All of this is going on, still feeling relatively confident. My elephants are destroying his houses, which, if we look from his point of view, isn't actually doing too much. But he's basically, again, out of troops. However, this is happening. And this is why I think it's quite a good instructional video. Just look at them. So here I am, feeling pretty confident, smashing my way through stuff, just killing people, and at the same time, like, just coming through without me even realising. And this is just, it's heartbreaking to watch, because these rams, totally unopposed, in they go. I haven't even got any troops to stop them. The whole point of building this was that I left some of these sword cavalry to stop rams. Never actually built the sword cavalry, spent too long thinking about attack because he was so close to being wiped out. And I mean, I'll have to speed this up to show you, but just look how much damage these rams do. Okay, gone. Houses gone. Everything gone. Unbelievable. You know, women gone. Everything. And I'm now trying desperately to stop this ram, which I have done. but they're still doing stuff, and I still haven't noticed at this point. I mean, at some point you'll see that my cavalry come running down. They're still attacking here, like not realising, and now just it's unbelievable. I mean, the market's gone. How did I still not noticed? Look at what was there. This one's just going to take out my fortress, and I finally spot it. And this is the thing, once you actually get some Malay cavalry in there, they make pretty short work of the rams. The ram's just gone in a second. Look, bang, 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 bang. Tries to get this barracks. He's gone. This ram, right, a few charges, gone. But the interesting thing, I mean, there, I need to stop them destroying this. Elephants are the best place to do this. But now, he's alright, well, why not try and take over this? I've got no town centre, so he's in a position to take over my thing. He hasn't done it, somehow. I think because, fortunately enough, I had some people garrisoned here that shot at them. But, got another 4 elephants. But at this point, I've gone from being like a 1 position, like that you just could not conceivably lose. He's now got he's doing the same thing as my troops do. You notice they just do this charge, and unfortunately elephants cannot garrison anywhere. You can't hold them back at all, so that's frustrating. But if we now have a look, he's at 108 and I'm at 167 still, but it's no longer anything like the actual easy thing that it was. I mean, I now need to. I sent a load of women to rebuild that, and again to protect. To build a new town centre. But if you look at my armies, I'm at 159. I can't build any new troops, and that's interesting. It's something that I'd not really taken into account when I knocked down his town centre. Was why did I not actually? Oh, got another ram. So just continually putting rams, but you can see now I've still got to build houses. The elephants are doing a good defensive job. One of them's died, unfortunately, and is now just wandering to his death. I don't know quite why, but the game is far from being over as it was, and now it's a case I need to rebuild everything. And so, having said that, although the game is no longer like from a 1 position, it's also not lost. So he's still trapped in his corner. So if I was to try and play this again, certainly all of this is empty. I should have created, like, look at all these materials, a town centre here, build and build and build and get something fortified, because here come the rams. And he's going to try and do the same thing again. Now I hope, although I don't remember if I do. Yes, here we go.
Yeah, see?
I've now remembered to put 10 of those cavalry around to try and get rid of the rams, but he's still putting rams. He's just dumping ram after ram after ram, and what I really needed to do was destroy this. He's only got the 1 fortress, whereas I've had 2. But all I'm doing at this stage is trying to build another army that can go and take him down. Strategically, I realised I wasn't using these Sacred Band cavalry particularly well. And yeah, they need to charge basically, and I wasn't having them just charge. So if you look at the first attack, when they were supported by a similar amount of these cavalry javeliniers, they did really well, because the javeliniers are softening people up, and they just come charging in from the side, bang, 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 dead horses or dead opposition everywhere. Here, you see I'm building another thing, trying to get my, what you call it, sorry, I'm just going to go down to insane. Just send people round, and this is another attack. And I notice there's now loads of rams, and these, how strong cavalry, they're just dead, all of them, for nothing, absolutely nothing. And I need to charge at the rams, destroy the rams, because they are absolutely horrible. But again, I had 25 of these, they get caught up in fighting, and they're just dead. Look at that, gone, like nothing. I've lost all of my army again. I've got some, and he just pushes now. And so he's got his rams, I've got my elephants, but his rams are going slowly round the top. I've been so busy thinking about what do I do to protect against rams from the rear with these 10 that I haven't actually thought what I would do if they came round the top. And look at all these. And so, yeah, he just, his rams just go round and around. I'm trying desperately to stop them, but with that many, 30 hero, and up come another load of rams. I'd actually put a guard outpost here so I could see them coming, but at this point we've got the rams. I'm so focused on what's happening. Actually, yeah, they do a decent job. If only I'd had 10 of those up here, but at that point actually I quit. So yeah, if I look around the top I can see he's got all of these heroes coming through. I've got virtually nothing, even though they did a great job of stopping the rams. They killed all of them. It transpires that was all I needed, was earlier on in the game to have 10 of these things. I don't think they lost even one. Let's have a look. If I go to Gaia, does it allow me to select them all? Yeah, didn't lose one. But fascinating example of, just clinging on because he was out of it, but came back. But the thing that I really learned from that is you have to protect both sides. So if I had built, for instance, a wall along there, they would have had to attack the wall first. That might have given me a bit more time. Or I just needed, a load of these guys, 10 of these, killed 4 rams. I'm just going to say don't quit from the replay. But if I had expanded here, there's a great opportunity as well. There's just so many, things that I could have done better. So I think against rams, now what I've actually done is actually stop playing as I've forgotten what these guys are called. Whoever I was playing as, so Athenians. No, Carthaginians. Sorry, I was Carthaginians. So I've stopped playing as those, and now I play as Seleucids or Seleucids. I don't know how you actually pronounce it. Just because they have hero swordsmen who can just destroy rams very easily. That first attack of the rams was what killed me. So when you're attacking, make sure that you are constantly piling in new troops, because if I had, been continuing to pile in additional, even just cavalry javeliniers, while this city was down, he can't build any new troops to defend it. We're just massacring everyone. There comes a point where he can't actually build anything. He can't build another city because there's no one left to do that building. Which that didn't happen, unfortunately. I could have, again, continually got elephants coming in. I had plenty of resources and wasn't using that. The other thing is I could have pinned him in a bit more. If I'd actually gone and built a base here, put towers all around it, he would have been forced to defend from both sides, which I didn't make happen. And yeah, that's basically it. But an interesting game, one that I learnt a lot from, and I think actually it was a really important game for me to actually see my rating go off. I think I've won now after that 4 or 5 games in a row relatively easily, and against people with rams, because rams are just an absolute nightmare. But thanks for watching, and yeah, feel free in the comments to point out how ridiculous it was that I let a collection of about 4 rams basically destroy my entire city. So see you later. Bon dia.